today we're looking at budgeting made easy. What is a budget? Why should you budget? How can you budget? What are the hindrances and the obstacles and the oppositions to you living in budgeting? It's amazing. What I'll be sharing today, I'm also excited about it myself. Looking at budgeting made easy from this book. You see, the School of Money book is about 700 pages and it's got 7 different sections. The first section in the book is called the preschool session. The second session is called the financial intelligence session. The third session is called the wealth creation session. The fourth session is called the entrepreneurship session. The fifth session is called the success session. The sixth session is called the legacy session. And the seventh session is called the billboard session. Now, in the third session that is called the wealth creation session, what we do is to share with you in that session different tools that you will need that will help you in creating wealth. And in the 13th chapter, in that third session, we have what we call budgeting. Now, so in chapter 13 of the book, page 229, we're looking at the chapter on budgeting made easy. You need to understand that you cannot be a financial goal-getter until you are, first of all, a financial goal setter. So if you don't set goals, you will not be able to score goals. Now, when it comes to budgeting, a lot of people fail in being able to succeed financially because they don't know how to develop a budget. They don't know how to stick to a budget. You see, making money is one thing, but it's the ability to manage your money that will multiply your money. So budgeting is a financial management principle. It's a financial management strategy that helps you to be able to create wealth, that helps you to be able to multiply your money. So simply put, when we say budgeting made easy, is how you can budget to create your wealth. So let's begin by looking at what exactly do we mean when we say budget. What is budgeting? Let me give you a few definitions that I outlined in the book. Number one, I revealed to you in this book that a budget is a numerical estimate of all expected income and expenditure over a specific period of time. It's what a numerical estimate of all expected income and expenditure over a period of time. So you can look at 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year and say, okay, what are the sources of income for my life that I'm expecting money to flow from this month? Or what are the sources of income I'm expecting money to flow from this week or this year? And then what are the expenditure points? Because if budgeting is just an estimate, it's a financial planning mechanism. It's a financial planning tool. So it's not set in concrete, but it helps you to be able to create wealth and it helps you to be able to manage your resources. Number two, a budget is a forecast of the total expected income, expenditure, assets, liabilities, and cash flow for a specific period of time. Now, in this definition, I move on from just your income and expenditure to your assets and your liabilities and your cash flow. Because once you understand the importance of budgeting to your wealth creation, what you begin to do is you begin to look into how to increase your income, how to reduce your expenditure, and you begin to look into how to increase your assets and how to reduce your liability. You begin to look into how to put money into assets that will begin to produce money for you on a consistent basis. All these things happen as you begin to give budgeting its proper place. What is budget? A budget is a planning tool that can be profitably engaged to guide you towards achieving your financial goal. So it's a planning tool. It helps you to do what? To be able to achieve it. So if you have a financial goal, you say, I want to be free. By the age of 30, I want to be financially free. By the age of 40, I want to be financially free. By the age of 50, I want to be financially free. How will you become financially free? You need a plan. Part of that plan is budgeting. That's why you need to budget. Now, number 4, a budget is a quantitative tool that assists its users in making financial choices among different alternatives. So what do we mean by that? You see, when you have a budget, it helps you to make the right choice among alternatives. Because when you have a budget, for instance, and you have said to yourself, well, my budget for I want to buy an electronic appliance, or we need to upgrade a particular aspect of what we do, and this is the budget. Once you have a budget, because you already have a budget fixed for that particular item, you will do a lot of research, you will do a lot of feasibility study, you will do a lot of market survey to find out all the options that are available, to know what really fits into your budget and into your purpose. And that's why budgeting helps you, because if you don't have a budget, you just go for whatever comes to you. It may be cheap and destructive, it may be expensive and useless. So you've got to have a budget. It's very, very key for you to be able to have a budget. So it's very, very important for everyone listening to me right now to do everything they can to develop a budget. Now, why do you need a budget? Let me share a few things with you that are already itemized in the book. You can see that you are enjoying it already, so you need to get your own copy. Now, why do you need a budget? Number one, you need a budget because it helps you to control your money instead of your money controlling you. You need a budget because it helps you to control your money instead of your money controlling you. There are a lot of people whose money control them. You see, if you don't know what to do with your money, money will tell you what to do with it. If you don't know what to do with your money, other people will help you spend it. They will tell you what to do with your money. So budgeting is what helps you to be able to control your money. So you know what is coming in and where it's going to. So the money does not direct you or control you. You control and direct the money. That's why you need a budget. Number two, it helps you to know whether you are living within your means or living above your means. So when you have a budget, it helps you to know, am I living within my means? Am I living above my means? That's why you need a budget. Because you need to understand that if your expenditure is greater than your income, your upkeep will become your downfall. If your expenditure is greater than your income, your upkeep will become your downfall. So every wise man, wise woman, wise individual that really wants to create wealth will do everything they can to make sure that they do not live beyond their means. You need to start out living within your means and increasing your means until you get to a point where no matter how much you live, it doesn't really matter, because you have so much means that cannot be exhausted. But it begins by living within your means, and budget helps you to know whether you are doing that or not. Number three, why do you need to budget? Because it will assist you in your savings and investment goal. You can set money aside for savings and investment as you earn your income. It assists you in your savings and investment goal. I shared with you on this broadcast a while back on developing a savings culture. And in that series, I spoke to you about the need to be disciplined and need to save at least 10% of your income. And also the need to have a structure on how you save money so that all the extra money that comes into your hand goes into your savings column. Now, that's what budgeting helps you to do. When you have a budget, it helps you to keep to your savings plan. It helps you to keep to your investment plan. So you know that, okay, every money that comes, 10% we give it out as a seed for charity, tithe, whatever you want to call it. Number two, we have another 10% we're going to save for our future. So 10% giving, 10% for your future. Now, because you have a budget, all this money goes into where they need to go into and helps to create the kind of life that you want to see. Number four, why do you need a budget? You need it because it helps guide you and to help you to know whether you are heading towards your set goals and your financial future. It guides you. It helps as a guide. Because once you have a budget, you are able to look at it and know, am I moving according to plan? Am I moving according to the arrangement? You see, when you don't know where you are going to, you won't know when you get there. When you don't know when you are going to, you'll be asking too many questions. But if you know where you are going to, you will know how far you are gone and how close you are. That's what budgeting does. It helps to guide you. So if, for instance, now you start a year and you say, this year I want to save $10,000. Because you have fixed how much you want to save, by the middle of the year you can look and say, okay, how much have I saved? So if you have saved $3,000, by the middle of the year, you know that something is wrong because you are supposed to have saved $5,000. So you now know how to make adjustments. If you have already saved $10,000 by the middle of the year, then you know that your planning was too small. Then you up it up and say, okay, probably I want to save $20,000. So that's what budgeting does for you. It helps to guide you so that you can stick with your plan and stick with your goal. Number five, it helps you to prepare for financial emergencies, unexpected expenses, and other unexpected things that can come to destabilize your life. Now, you see, in life, whether you like it or not, life happens. Life is not a straight line. You cannot determine what life brings your way, but you can determine how you act. And what budgeting does is that it helps you to prepare for emergency. Because if you understand budgeting, you will have to put some money aside in savings. You will have to put some money aside for what we call contingencies or any other business. So once you have that money, if emergency comes, then you're able to cover for it because you already have it provided for in your budget. Number six, it helps to keep you out of debt or get you out of debt if you are already in debt. Now, you see, a lot of people for many marriages, it's not till death do us apart, it's till death do us apart, because they are in debt. So what budgeting does is that it helps to keep you out of debt, because you now know how much you have, you know how much you are spending, you can make adjustments when necessary, you won't get into unnecessary expenses, and you will not get into debt. So once you are a man or a woman that budgets effectively, it helps keep you out of debt. And if you are already in debt, one of the things that budgeting will do is that it will help you to come out of debt, because you can now schedule your plan on how to pay back. It's okay, I'm going to pay this, I'm going to pay this, I'm going to pay that, and I'm out of debt. And finally, why do you need to budget? It helps reveal areas where you are spending too much money, and it helps you to refocus your income on more important things. So what budgeting does is that it will reveal to you, you are making a mistake here, you are spending too much money here. Now that revelation, that insight will help you to make adjustments. So you need to do everything you can to make sure that you continue to budget. And I've been able to share with you 7 reasons why you need a budget. Well, as we begin to move towards the wrapping up of this particular episode, I want us to now look into how to develop a budget. How do you develop a budget as an individual? And I would advise that you get a pen and a paper, or you have a notepad, so that you can take down all these details, so that you can go into what I call practicals after this time. Like I told you, we're looking at the School of Money book, and we're in chapter 13 on budgeting made easy. Now, the first thing you need to do in order to develop or prepare a budget is, number 1, you need to gather every financial statement that you can gather. What do I mean by that? Get your checkbook, look at your check stub, get your bank statement, get all the different statements that you have all around you, so that you'll be able to sit down and have an average idea of how much money flows through you. For instance, I've got a book that I've been using for about 16 years now, 16, 17 years, and in that book, I call it my personal financial life monitor plan. It's a big book, and I'll be using now. What I do is, every money that comes into my hand, I write it down. Every money that goes out of my hand, I write it down. So over a period of time, I'm able to sit down and look at the income and look at the expenditure. I know where I'm making more money, and so that I can continue to focus on that to make more money. I know those places that are wasting my time. I know things that are taking my money, so that I can know how to reduce my expenditure, and that has helped me all through life and all through the time of my life. So you need to do something. You need to have all this information, because sometimes you don't even know how much has gone through your hands, because you don't look at the records. Many of you, millions have gone through your hands. You've got so much money going through your hand on an annual basis, but because you don't have a way of tracking it down, you don't even know that you make so much money. So number 1 is to get that done. Number 2 is to now record all the sources of income that you have. What are all the different sources of income that you have? What are the possible sources of income that you also have? Why? If you have sources of income presently, and you have sources of income that you can explore, once you know that they exist, then you'll be able to do something to begin to open them up. So number 1 is what? Get the financial statements together to have an average idea of what you have coming into your life from time to time. Number 2, you need to be able to list out all the sources of income that you have. The fixed source of income, the inconsistent source of income, the possible source of income. List them out so that you can have an idea of what is coming. Because like we said, a budget is an estimate of expected income and expenditure over a period of time. Number 3, you need to create an expense list. So now you have an income list. Then you need to now go and prepare an expense list. Now on your expense list, you need to list out everything that you spend money on. You need to start from the basic, which we call the needs of life, to the non-basic, which we call the wants of life, to the luxuries of life. So you have what we call the need, the want, and the luxury. So what are your needs? What to eat, where to live, what to wear, how to move around. So you talk about your accommodation, you talk about transportation, you talk about dressing, you talk about feeding. Those are basic needs. All the basic bills, your light bill, your water bill, your gas bill, your phone bill, all those basic needs, you list them out. Then the non-essentials. Oh, I want to go and watch a movie. I need money for movie night. Oh, I want to go out and eat with my friends. Oh, I want to go to the amusement park. Oh, I want to go on holiday. Oh, now those are wants. So you list them out so that you have an idea of whether you can afford to do that or not. Then the next thing you need to now do is to break the expenditure into 2 categories. you break it into two categories. Now, there are two categories in life. We have what we call the fixed and what we call the variable. So, for instance, if you live in a particular house, you have a mortgage, your mortgage cost is fixed, your rent is fixed. They're not going to increase your rent arbitrarily. So you already know that, okay, I need $200 a month for my rent, and $1,000 a month for my rent, or I need $5,000 a month for my rent. You already know how much you need. That's fixed. Now, your light bill is also fixed depending on where you operate from. Your phone bill is also fixed depending on where you operate from. So there are a lot of fixed costs. You can have a transportation system where you have your rail card. If you probably live in the UK, you have a rail card for a whole month, or you have a particular amount that you spend. So look at what are the fixed costs. So you have the fixed, and the variable one is feeding. You can decide to eat once in a day. You can decide to eat 10 times in a day. It's your life. And you can decide not to eat for a whole week. It's your life. So there are variable costs. You can decide to buy a new dress every week. You can decide to buy a new dress only once every 3 months. You can decide to buy new dresses or new clothes once in a year. It's your life. So you need to be able to differentiate between the fixed costs or the fixed expenses and the variable expenses. Now, this will help you to focus on what is important so that you will major on major and minor on minor. Because sometimes in life, people major on minor and they minor on major, and then they get their life out of order. Once you've been able to do that, number 5, you need to total your monthly income and then total your monthly expenditure. So now you have your monthly income projected. You have your monthly expenditure, fixed and variable, projected. You now look at it. If your monthly income comes to $3,500 and your monthly expenditure comes to $6,000, you know that your life is out of order. If your monthly income comes to $3,500 and your monthly expenditure comes to $2,200, you know that, well, you are doing okay. Why? I've told you before, I will say it again. Once your expenditure is greater than your income, your upkeep will become your downfall. So every time you spend more than you make, your life is not going to work the way it's supposed to work. Your financial dreams will not come to pass. So it's very, very important for you to make sure that your expenditure is always below your income so that you have enough money to set aside for savings and investment. Now, once you've been able to do that, the 6th point is to make necessary adjustments. You need to make adjustment, especially to expenditure, because once you have so much expenses and you can't meet up with the expenses, or the expenses are so much that it messes up with your life plan or messes up with your savings and investment plan, then that expenses has got to go down. One of the things I've realized is that in life, a lot of people don't realize that it's not just about making more money. There are 2 ways you can make more money available to you, either by increasing your income or by reducing your expenditure. So that's very, very key if you're going to be able to have a successful budget. Then the 7th step you need to take is to review your budget on a monthly basis. So you have to consistently review your budget. Consistently review your budget. Consistently. Why? Because you see, even whether you like it or not, life is not a straight line. You might have a budget, you have a plan of income, you have a plan of expenditure, and then the income does not show up. And then some unexpected expenditure shows up. Then you need to make necessary adjustment. So you make adjustments along the way. Those adjustments are the necessary steps that will help you to be able to live a balanced life that keeps to budget. So it's very, very important for you to be able to do that. Now, a lot of people have tried to budget and they've not been able to succeed. A lot of people have tried to be able to live up to a budget and they have failed. When we return after the break, I'm going to tell you, why do budgets fail? Why is it that people try and they fail when it comes to budgeting? So the first reason why many budgets don't work is what I call unrealistic expectations. A lot of people are not realistic. When we talk about budget, we are talking about expected income, not dreamed income, not, mysterious income, not unrealistic income. We are talking about expected expenditure. Why? Because a lot of people, okay, you earn $1,000 a month or you earn $3,000 a month, and then you say, okay, this year I'm expecting 10 million. I'm expecting 2 million. How will it happen? Do you have a plan to make it happen? And then you earn $3,000 a month, and then you are expecting, oh, this month, every month I'm going to spend $10,000 every month, and it's going to happen. How will it happen? So many times, a lot of budgets fail because even the budget itself is not realistic. Number 2, poor implementation is another reason why budgets fail. A lot of people don't implement their budget. Now listen, budgets don't run themselves. People run budgets. You prepare a budget and you run the budget by living according to the budget. So a lot of people don't implement the budget, and that's why it's failed, because they have a budget, but they live their life without referring to the budget. They do all kinds of stuff, and the budget is just on paper, but they don't refer to it. They don't come back to it to check whether they are living according to budget. And I tell you, in my life, in the different organizations I run, budget is very key. The first question is, was it in the budget? Did we plan for that? If not, then we'll go back and find out, do we have enough savings or enough backup to meet that? If not, then we'll push it. That's the way it works. You've got to be very, very disciplined and very deliberate about your life, or else your life will remain the same way it is, because nothing just happens. Number 3, you need to be careful of negative attitude. A lot of people cannot see their budget becoming a reality because they have a negative attitude. Some people have budget, they even don't believe the budget will work. They just say, my budget, will it really work? Does it really work? So why did you create it? Why did you have a budget if you know you're not going to believe in the budget? So your attitude matters a lot, because if you don't believe it will work, it will work. A wise man once said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you are right, because it's what you think and what you believe that matters. And then finally, a lot of budgets don't work because they don't get the buy-in and the support of other stakeholders. So for instance, if you are married and you are developing a budget and your wife is not in support, it will not work. If you are developing a budget, your children are not in support, it will not work. So in order for you to have a budget that will work, you need to get the buy-in of all the stakeholders. You can't be budgeting on behalf of people that are not aware there is a budget that they're supposed to live by. So you need to get all the stakeholders involved and let them know, look, there's a budget, this is the way this is going to happen, this is the way that's going to happen, and then it's very clear to everybody. And once people know the principle and the policy that you live by, the principle and the policy that governs your life, it's settled. In my family, we have a budget. My wife knows, my children know. The fact that the money is available does not mean it must be spent. So there's a fixed money, this is how much you are spending, take it, that's for the month. Anything that comes up the month, you are on your own. As we say in my country, you are on your own. OYO, on your own. Why? Because there is a budget. And once everybody understands that, everybody lines up. So most of the time when my wife wants to say something, or my daughter or my son wants to say, oh, I know it's not in the budget, but I want you to consider this one. Can we fit this one into the budget? Because they understand there is a budget.